Hi, I'm Shaul. Today's video is going to deal with questions rather than answers. They are all related to video. I am not really a big video guy. I'm mostly a stills guy. It's two different art forms. To make a general analogy, I would say that stills are akin to poetry. You try to distill the essence of the world around you, or your emotions, or your thoughts, into very concise pieces. Video is more like prose, like a novel, where the continuity of the story, of the narrative, is a lot more prominent. So the questions I have are from a point of view of a cinema consumer rather than a cinema creator. I would like to argue, if it's not too much, because as I said before, I do not know a lot about this art form. I would like to argue that the camera does not have a major impact on the quality of the final piece. It's other things that matter from the technical point of view. Now, I feel that the word or the term cinematic is a little bit overused in order to describe certain qualities that make a video footage different from what you watch on social media or on television. It's supposed to be a higher end, higher quality, more immersive and emotional, and this is done by giving that footage a certain look. Everything is around the smoothness or softness of transitions. So I would like to address a few of those characteristics in a critical manner. First of all, the resolution of the footage. You see, I would like to argue that resolution is very much overhyped. They actually took groups of people and led them into a cinema theater and let them choose the seating placement. And a vast majority of the people who participated in those experiments preferred sitting at a distance that is 2 to 2.5 times the width of the big screen in the cinema theater. At that distance, they could contain the whole width of the screen in the relatively narrow zone of good focus in their eyesight. The resolution or the separate positions across the screen that are discernible to the human eye from such an angle of view is about 2,700 different positions, which suggests that you do not need much more than 2,700 pixel wide. That gives you a number of about 2.8K. Now, the video I'm shooting now is in 1080p, which is 2K, with a rather soft, vintagey lens. If you watch this video from a comfortable distance, where you can contain the whole width of the screen in your eyesight, you would notice that the image looks sharp. It cannot go much sharper before you start wasting pixels. So I do not understand those videographers who insist that they require a higher resolution. Well, maybe in certain genres of cinema, like where you want to show exotic animals or very fine details, it does matter. But even then, you do not need more than that sort of resolution. 2.8K is quite enough if you want to just make sure maybe some of your viewers will have a much better eyesight than the average. Right, you can shoot at 4K, but any more than that is simply not understandable to me. It's not that you have to crop your footage. Of course, you can do it, but it's quite an elaborate process, which consumes a lot of computing power and is rather lengthy, and it's quite a big headache, to be honest. Next is the elephant in the room, dynamic range. I would like to argue that every decent camera produced in the past 15 years is about the same. In very contrasty scenes, there is no way even the higher end cinema camera can capture the whole tonal range in one shot. And in most cases, you can control the lighting. You can block stray light from the sun or from other very bright light sources. You can add lighting to make the exposure more balanced and easier. Talking about exposure, there are two ways to expose an image. One is exposing for the highlights and bringing up the shadows in post-production to give the whole image balanced brightness and contrast. The other way is to expose for the subject and let the highlights and the shadows fall at what value they may fall, because they're not really the subject of the shot. I've had a lot of experience with trying to correctly expose stills shots. And after a lot of trial and error over the years, I've settled on exposing for the subject. Because trying to expose for the highlights and lift everything in post-production gives you somewhat artificial results. There is always some color cast to deal with, which is quite a headache when you deal with human skin, for example, or with other objects that have to assume a particular shade in the final footage. And it's a lot easier to do when you initially expose for your subject. In most cases, the tonal range in the scene is quite limited. So most cameras can deal with that, with their existing dynamic range, especially if you shoot in more than 8-bit. Even in 8-bit, when you apply a flat profile, there's quite a lot of room for grading, for corrections, to get a decent looking footage. Next is what people like to refer to as color science, or the tonal balance of different wavelengths in the visible spectrum. Now, different cameras, of course, have different approaches to processing color, and it might look quite different from one brand to another, or even between different cameras made by the same manufacturer. However, this is something you can correct in post. Most of the errors in color are related to white balance, and I feel that if you white balance your footage correctly in the first place, you do not have to deal with very large corrections in post-productions. A simple way to address it is to preset a daylight white balance. This allows for every light source to assume its real color. And sometimes you want to override it, to cheat the viewer into thinking that some artificial light is really the color of natural light coming through a window or something like that. And then you do have to custom white balance. But the main point is that by choosing the correct white balance, you can save yourself a lot of work afterwards. When the makers of the film want to give the viewer a certain impression or invoke a certain mood or feeling, and then they might give the footage a colder or warmer look than the natural light would allow. And that is, of course, fine. It's an artistic choice, and you can easily do it with those sophisticated color grading tools in post-production. Now, of course, if I'm completely wrong, or if you want to add to those thoughts, you are more than welcome to do it in the comment section. However, there are some characteristics of the footage that do make a difference to the feeling of being immersed in the footage. First is the optics, angle of view, or the linear perspective, which determines the relation between the size of an object and its distance from the camera. To my eyes, the best footage is obtained when using a normal human angle of view, something between 40 and 50 millimeters. When shooting a scene with people inside it, this type of focal length makes everything looks natural, as if we were in the room with the subjects of the scene, with the protagonists. Using a longer focal length makes us feel detached from the people who are the subjects of the footage, while using a shorter or a wider focal length does not look right. Closer objects seem too big and exaggerated, while further away ones look very small and insignificant. So this type of field of view tends to look a little bit unnatural. It distorts too much, and it feels as if we are too close to the subject. Of course, it's an artistic choice, and by controlling the focal length, you can impact the way the viewer feels about the scene and the subject. I'm shooting this video with Falkland 40 millimeters f1.4 classic, which is a lens I like, but I chose it to show you what a normal focal length would look like. Using this 40 millimeter field of view, I hope that you can feel that I'm sitting here in the room next to you and having a conversation. My face does not look too flat, but the features do not look too exaggerated, like my nose, which is actually quite big, does not look unnaturally large, and my ears do not look unnaturally small. This is what I look like from a distance of about 80 centimeters, which is a nice conversation distance. The optics also control the fall-off between sharpness and unsharpness in the background through the effect of depth of field. This is quite an important issue because it allows the creator of the piece to emphasize the subject relative to the background. Now, of course, I'm not a big fan of bokeh or of very soft, unidentified backgrounds. I believe that in stills photography and also in cinema, of course, it is important to place the subjects in their overall environmental context, which allows telling a story in a more compelling way. So while I do like the separation between sharp and less sharp, I would rather keep everything in the scene still recognizable, and this is achieved by using an absolute aperture of about 15 to 20 millimeters. That sort of aperture allows some separation of sharpness, but it also keeps everything from nearby to infinity in a recognizable form. Another aspect of the image the optics are responsible for are the general rendition. This is something I have talked a lot about on my channel, but it is an important factor in order to allow the viewer to participate in your scene, in your footage, to be immersed in the story you are trying to tell. It is important that the optics give you a true-to-life portrayal of the scene with a strong feeling of depth. So the viewer feels that they are inside the movie, inside the scene. Lenses that put too much emphasis on correction of aberrations and on sharpness may look artificial, because it is clearly not the way we see the world in our own eyes. Some of the very popular lenses currently used in film production are too clinical, they're too contrasty and too sharp. I consider the lens filming me now, that Falklander 40mm Classic, a good example of true-to-life portraying lens. Its rendition is sharp, but it is not too sharp. It is not clinical. And it allows the viewer to feel closer, as if they were part of the scene. That is maybe a minor detail in the overall technical characteristics of the footage, but I think that it does allow you to convey the emotions, the mood, and the relations between the subjects and in the scene in a more true-to-life manner. So the rendition of the lens has a strong impact on the emotional participation of the viewer. Lighting is also an important part of any movie production. The light, apart from allowing you to overcome strong light sources and including the whole tonal range of the scene within the dynamic range of the camera, allows you to put more emphasis on certain elements in the scene and to give the viewer more emotional participation. So most productions use elaborate lighting, like 4, 6 or more light sources that are used to separate the subjects from the background and giving some elements some more pop, some more prominence vis-à-vis the rest of the scene. Other than that, the construction used for stabilizing and moving the camera is also a very important part of the production. It really has a profound effect on what the footage will look like. Using gimbals or dollies or trucks to move the camera is paramount. Those camera movements have a profound effect on the feeling, on the mood of the scene, and on the emotional participation of the viewer. Finally, there is the issue of sound. Nothing can destroy a good piece of footage more than poor sound. You need the sound to be natural, to be crisp, preferably stereophonic or surround sound. So you feel immersed in the shot scene, in the environment. Sound gives the viewer a lot of context on a parallel level to the footage itself, to the images themselves. And apart from the natural sounds effect and music, a good choice of music and good sound quality of that music can really impact the emotional participation of the viewer. So I feel that all those aspects together are what can be called cinematic. To me, the effects of sound, the camera movements, and the rendition of the lens are the most important thing when I try to analyze why I like certain films more than other in the visual sense. But again, I'm talking from the point of view of a cinema consumer, not as a cinema creator. So please let me know if my hunch is correct or whether I'm very wrong. And I would love to be educated by the viewers of this video. And Casey from Camera Conspiracies, I'm looking at you because I know you have very strong opinions about cinema and what footage should look like from a perspective of a successful YouTuber. Okay, thank you for watching and see you again soon.